Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I tried recreating this lovely dress. If you want to see how it turned out, please keep on watching. So here I have my fabric. I folded it into two using my bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 6 inches. So here I'm marking my shoulder to half length plus 1 inch of allowance. So this dress has no zipper. It has a band, an elastic band on the waistline. So we're going to be cutting the front and the back the same way without any zipper allowance. So I'm placing my tape again now, marking for the back piece. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Please consider subscribing. So next I'm going to place both front and back pieces on top of each other. So next up, I'm marking half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. Mark the same thing down and then I connected into a straight line, as you can see. Then I'm marking armhole of 9 inches. Next up, on the center part, I came in by 3 inches. Then on the armhole point, I came down by ½ inch. And I'm going to connect that to the 3 inches point in a slant. So next I'm marking my neck width, which is 4 inches. Then I'm marking the neck depth of 8 inches for the front. So the front neckline is going to be 4 inches wide and 8 inches deep. So the front neckline, I'm going to connect it into a V like so. Then I'm marking the back neckline, which is 1.5. So the width is the same as the front, while the depth is 1.5 for the back. And I curved that round. I'm also curving the armhole at this point. So next I'm cutting. I started with the shoulder slant and then the armhole. Then I'm cutting the back neckline. After which I will lift up the upper piece and cut the front neckline only on the upper piece, as you can see. So next off, I'm marking my bust measurement divided by 4. I added 1 inch of ease and 2 inches of allowance. Then down here I marked quarter of my half length round, and I'm going to be adding extra 6 inches. Remember I said the dress has an elastic band, so we need all that allowance for it. So I've cut that out. Next off, I've opened my back piece. So this is the front, this is the right side facing up. So I'm going to mark ½ inch. That is the seam allowance will be joining to the lower part of the dress. So I'm going to mark ½ inch all across the down part. So now I'm going to, from the shoulder, measure to ½ inch below my under bust. So my under bust, I come down by ½ inch, and then I'm going to mark that all across. So this is the point where I'm going to be using the elastic thread to bring the waist together. So I'm going to be repeating the same thing for the front piece. So I open it up on the right side. So here I'm marking ½ inch again. Then I'm going to be marking 1 inch below my under bust all across like so. The same thing we did for the front. So next I'll be cutting facing for both the front neckline and the back neckline. So for the front neckline, I folded a piece of fabric into 2, and then I'm placing my front piece on the piece, making sure the folded edge of the neckline, of the front piece rather, is sitting on the folded edge of that fabric piece we're using for the facing. So what you're going to do now is trace out the neckline and then the shoulder, and then I'm going to cut across like so from below the neckline to the shoulder line. You can use anything between 2.5 to 3 inches. So here is it. I'm going to be hemming this part of the facing. I'm going to be hemming it. This part I'm ironing. I'll go sew it like so. Just fold it in once and then make a stitch. So next I'm placing the facing right sides together to the front piece, and I'm going to pin them together, and then I will go sew on top using 1/2 inch allowance. So that's it for the front. We're going to be doing the same for the back. So I'll fold a piece of fabric again, then I will fold the back piece and then align both folded edges. So just like the front, I traced out the neckline and then a bit of the shoulder, and then I'm measuring 3 inches down from that neckline to meet the shoulder point, which will be 3 inches as well. I will just eyeball it like I did. So for this piece as well, I'm going to fold it in once and sew it down. I'll pin it to the front, to the right side of the back piece, right sides of both facing each other. Right side of the facing the right side of the back piece, and then I'll go sew using 1/2 inch of allowance. So next off, I have about 2.5 yards of fabric here, folded into 4. So I placed my half length at the beginning of the fabric, and I'm marking the length of my dress plus 1 inch of allowance. So I want the dress below my knee, so that's what I'm marking. I'm going to connect the lines together and then cut out. So that's it for the skirt piece. I'll go hem one side and then sew a loose stitch on one other side. So here is for the sleeve. I have fabric folded into 2, measuring 14 inches, and then for the length is my sleeve length plus another 5 inches. So 14 inches wide, and then my sleeve length plus 5 inches. I came down by 3 inches there, and then I came in here by 3 inches again, and then I am going to curve like so and blend into that point. And this is for the sleeve. I'm going to cut that out, and then for the rest is going to remain as it is. So for the sleeve too, we're going to open it up like so. We'll take it to the machine, and first of all, I'm marking 5 inches up from the down of the sleeve. The sleeve also has an elastic band, so this is where it's going to sit. 5 inches up from the hem. So we'll go fold it first and then run our elastic stitches. The same for the second sleeve. So here is my elastic thread. I rolled it on my bobbin and then into the bobbin case. You fix it in the same way you fix your normal thread, and then on top is the same sewing thread. So as I'm sewing, I'm stretching it out, and the right side of the fabric is what is up. Make sure your right side is up facing you, and then you sew and stretch it out. Stretching while you sew is very, that's the only way it will be elastic. So I sew, I leave about ½ inch of space, and then I sew all the way while stretching it out. Then I keep sewing, leaving ½ inch space until I fill up the entire space for both sleeves, and then both the front fabric, both the front piece and the back piece. So this is what it's looking like so far. I'm going to keep doing this until we finish all of it. So after sewing on all the spaces, this is what we have. This is for the sleeve. I'm going to fold it like so, right sides together, and then close it up using 1 inch for both the sleeves. And then for the front and the back fabric, this is it. This is the front piece. This is what it's looking like. And then this is the back. So I'm going to place those together, right sides together as well. I joined the side seams using my seam allowance. I think I left about 2 on the upper part. For the down, I just hold about 1 inch or thereabout, and then I'll also join the shoulder together. So this is what it's looking like so far. At this point, I was still feeling it. I was still liking it. Okay, so next off, we are going to stretch it out just to know how wide it can get, and then use that as a guide to gather the skirt piece. So I've already hemmed the down part of the skirt, and then I made loose stitches on the upper side. So I'm going to gather it in. So once I gather it to the point where I want it to be, I'll go join it together using 1 inch, after which I will pin it to the upper piece, right sides together. So I'm putting the right side into the skirt piece, and then I'm going to stretch it out so that the fit. So I'm going to stretch it out like so while I sew, arranging the gathers properly. So after sewing, this is what we have, and then I've joined the sleeve by the side as well. I'm going to pin the sleeve to the armhole. So I'm going to pin it to the shoulder point, and then whatever excess I have, I will pleat it in on the upper part, on the shoulder part of the sleeve. So I pin the side seam of the sleeve to the side seam of the dress, and then I pin the shoulder, the midpoint of the sleeve to the shoulder. So I'll pin from the side seam to one side of the shoulder, and then pin from the side seam to the other part, such that the pleats will all start at the same point on both sides. So after I'm done pinning it and installing my pleats, I'll go sew them round, and then we will see what the dress looks like. Well, here you have it, guys. My dress did not look like what I was trying to copy. What do you think I did wrong? Let me know in the comment section below. My neckline was not as deep as the picture, and my dress was way longer than the picture, but I love my dress even though it didn't look like what I was trying to copy. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye.